Good evening and welcome to PTV, Pardon the Vulgarity, the show that sounds like it's me flipping you off and wagging my dick at you for 5 minutes, but isn't. Actually, this is my second recording. The first one went 15 minutes, and nobody wants to watch me for 15 minutes, so let's do this a little faster. First up, Lecavalier and PK Subban's rape fest in front of the net about 5 days ago. Lecavalier got tossed for two-handing Subban in the leg. And I thought it was deserved. Good on the refs for getting that one right. Probably could have tossed Subban as well because he's a prick and I hate him. And he was just as guilty of doing the things that Lecavalier did. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the bigger topic of all the crap that happens in front of the net the NHL doesn't want to do anything about. These guys get hacked to pieces, they get slashed, they get cross-checked, they get ribs broken, they have internal bleeding, they get little dings, and yes, that's a tough position to play. A lot of that is unavoidable, but the NHL needs to actually do something and call penalties on these guys besides goaltender interference to keep their players on the ice, which I don't think it does a good job of doing. Which, as luck would have it, brings me into my next topic, the whole headshot crap and Matt Cooke's flying elbow against the New York Rangers. Cooke got 10 games and the first round of the playoffs for suspension. Pretty big, maybe. I don't know. He's not really that important of a player to the Penguins outside of being a dickbag on the ice. So it's probably not really hurting the team all that much. A lot of people wanted it to be harsher. I would count myself among them. Unfortunately, there's so much that goes into headshots that you can't. There is no good way to police it. You have prior instances of the hitter, you have the injury of the victim that can cloud your judgment, you have circumstances that might make a certain situation worse than it actually was. You have a whole lot of things going on that make it a very hard thing to police. I think the best way to do it is to make headshotting a penalty. We don't try and judge intent or any of that crap with high sticking. High stick is a high stick regardless. I think a headshot needs to be a penalty regardless of the intent and whether it's Evgeny Malkin throwing a flying elbow or Matt Cooke. And I think that you need to have maybe some kind of NBA-esque like foul style type of punishment where the more headshots you rack up, the stiffer your punishment is in terms of suspensions and fines. And I think it needs to be steep. Maybe one first headshot, a minor, whatever. Second one, you get 5 and you're done. Third one, you get that game and maybe 5 more games. You rack up 3 headshots in a short span of time, you're an asshole and you need to have the book thrown at you. And I think any more than that, you got to start looking at 20, 30, 40 games for these guys and just do what you can to get it out of the league because it's a problem. NHL needs to keep the players on the ice. That's priority number 1 because that's what the fans come there to watch. Stats Nerd Sunday on Puck Daddy. This is probably what caused me to rattle on for 15 minutes. I like Matt Barr. I like that there's another stats column out there because we can build off each other and get ideas. I don't like what the column's been so far, and reading the comments on Yahoo, nobody else has either. And I think the problem with that is that Barr is either getting a little too wordy with his stats and not keeping them simple enough for the average reader, who is an idiot. And I don't think he's aiming high enough in what he gets to figure out, or what he's trying to figure out, or he's just picking bad things that aren't really very illuminating at all. I'm not sure. His most recent column was on bubble teams and what trends tend to carry those teams into the playoffs. And his finding was good starting goaltending, which is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, I guess it's good to see confirmation of our biases. That's one of the things I try and do is if there's a very popular thought, I try to either confirm or deny it, and that way people can go, oh, it's not just, I feel this happens. It's, well, I feel this happens, and the data supports it. But he buried it in mountains of text, and I think he needs to just throw charts at people, and it's a really easy way to convey a lot of information. It keeps the column shorter, it makes them easier for the writer, it makes them easier for the reader, and it's just better all around. Text and numbers don't go together very well. You got to keep them separate. Craig Anderson signed a 4-year, $12.75 million deal with the goaltending hell of the Eastern Conference Ottawa Senators. That works out to $3.18 million per year. I've always been high on Anderson since he was back up at Florida, but I think $3.18 million is too much for a guy that he really only had one good season as a starter and a lot of good seasons as a backup. And Ottawa's not any better than Colorado, so it's very possible that he'll be just as bad there as he was in Colorado this year. I'll just go over the company that puts him with real quick. It's guys like Pekka Rinne, 3.4, Steve Mason in Columbus, 2.9, Carey Price, 2.75, even though that'll change. I don't think Anderson is that good. Maybe 2.5 is a good contract for him. I thought 1.8125 that he had in Colorado was great, especially with the performance he gave them last year. But I don't think he's going to live up to that $3 million contract. And yay, Ottawa's going to suck more. Good for us. Finally, I'll go into a standings check here with both conferences. And I said this before. Eastern Conference, top 8, I think it is what it is. Those are the teams that are going to make the playoffs. I feel Carolina, Toronto, Atlanta, and Florida are not good enough. I feel that New Jersey dug themselves too much of a hole to catch up. I think they might actually be better than the Rangers, but I don't think they're going to get there. I think the seeding's probably going to stay pretty much the same as what it is, and that'll mean Buffalo plays Philadelphia in the first round. Yay. They've been good at times and not so good at others, so yay. Western Conference, I'm going to go ahead and say the same thing here. I think the top 8 is what it's going to be. Order's probably going to be different. I think Los Angeles and Nashville are better than where they are. That's 5th and 7th. I think that I think that Phoenix probably not as good as where they are in 4th right now. Yeah, that's how I see it shaking out. Yeah, nothing more to say there. Wow, I got through that a hell of a lot faster than I did on my first take. Good for you guys. One of the things I'm going to do within the next few days is I'd like to interview my girlfriend, who is a newcomer to Sabres hockey, and kind of get her perspective on watching the Sabres and getting into hockey in general, both as a spectator and she wants to play ice hockey as well. So I think that could be a real interesting thing to watch. Hopefully I'll come up with some good questions because I got nothing so far. Maybe I'll have her flash you guys. That'd probably be pretty interesting, right? Yeah, can't wait till she watches this and my parents watch this. That'll be fun discussions. See you guys next time.